UCLA Bruins defense and how it's so effective? How do you plan to attack it?
I mean, they're good at it. I mean, they're good positionally. They have a shot blocker. They have experienced players, good IQ players. They have a coach that demands it. They create turnovers. They're number 2 in the country, I see, in the turnover margin category, which is a really good category to be good at. And then they're holding teams in the 50s, so they've been really good defensively.
You put the higher quality teams on your schedule. What do you see as like the 2 or 3 main things that you guys have to be able to do in those games?
I mean, I think it varies depending on your opponent to a degree. Like, what are the strengths of your opponent? What enables UCLA to win 13 straight games? What are they doing to be successful in those games? And again, they're a defensive-minded group first. Mick Cronin has done that his whole career and has brought that mentality to that program, and those guys play extremely hard at that end of the floor. And he's got winning players. He's got winners. They're guys that have won a lot of games there, been in Final Fours. Talk about Tiger Campbell and Jaime Jaquez, both 2 of the best in our conference.
So, like in this game, you would say ball security and the per possession value.
We talked today about the importance of our defense showing up because they've demonstrated that they could hold teams down and not allow them to score. So we better be prepared to guard somebody. We talked about the turnovers the next 2 days in practice, taking care of the ball, being strong with the ball, valuing the ball. And then offensive rebounding is always something that we feel we need to discuss and put on our radar because in certain games we haven't been great in that category, and they're second in the league in offensive rebounds.
You guys have historically had, since you've been here, great games with them. So you expect another one of those like low-scoring, grind-it-out kind of games?
You just never know. It's just hard to forecast that. I mean, I didn't go into Oregon thinking, that was going to happen, necessarily the way we did it. I had confidence that we could win there, but so you just don't know how the game is going to play out. But certainly if you base it on last year and here and how we played with the toughness we played, and I still remember talking with one of our coaches, Nick Irvin, that wasn't with me in this game last year, and he asked me, was I exhausted after 3 overtimes? And I said, no, I wanted to keep coaching. It was a game where both teams were playing well, felt like a high-level game. If they wanted to go another overtime or 2, I would have been good with it.
Bobby, the way you guys are playing right now, the opponent you have, what are you kind of hoping to see crowd-wise, student-wise tomorrow?
It's always tough to project. I think that people should be enthusiastic about what we're doing. And, I know that, heck, we didn't deliver in the Arizona game, and we had a great crowd and stuff, but that doesn't mean you stop coming to the games. We've beaten enough good teams here over the years and highly ranked teams that it might be worth, making a run over here and see what's going on.
Each team obviously has its own personality, but with you just saying, beating highly ranked teams, do you kind of sprinkle that honey a teeny bit in their ears during the week of practice coming up to a big game like this?
Motivation shouldn't be something that I'm overly concerned with. I'm more like, we're in the middle of January, I'm finding, am I doing enough in practice? I can't do too much. So it's like, physically these guys have been through a lot and we are really fit. It's about, just keeping us sharp and hopefully getting the team to peak at the right time on Thursday night, keeping everyone healthy. And so, that's all I'm thinking about in the next couple of days, because these guys have been in a number of big games this year, and they're going to be excited to play. I'm not worried about that.
It seems like your freshmen and also Nunez and Dufresne, they're not afraid of the big moment. They both made some big plays, and when the pressure's on, are you kind of surprised that they've been that good this early?
After seeing Austin and Duke in New York, it gave you a glimpse, right? So Duke more so in the VCU game came in late minutes, very productive, helped us win that game as a freshman, and then Austin just was unbelievable against Michigan. So very early in key games, they showed that they could play well in these big games. So I thought Austin was terrific in the first half, especially versus Oregon, just coming in there and being a playmaker his defense is always great. I mean, he's flying around, giving you everything he's got on that end. And Duke is, a blue collar guy. I mean, he's going to do whatever he can to help the team win. He makes winning plays.
UCLA plays a lot of close games where there's kind of one stretch that makes the difference in the game, whether first half versus USC, late in the game versus Colorado recently. How do you prevent that stretch from happening, where maybe there's an extended drought?
I mean, I could see that happening. I mean, I told the guys before practice, man, it could be a very low-scoring game. So be prepared to function and operate, whatever the circumstances, demand for that game. And I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, both teams could get hot and score the ball and make shots and plays. I mean, and it could be a different type of game, but you don't know at this point. But yeah, I mean, they're a good team. That's why they've won so much. Is because they have a defense that could generate those type of stops. I mean, it's the reason they're giving up 57 points a game. Good defensive team.
Ingredients, though, that have gone into how successful you've been in those close games this year.
I've said it. I don't think that I'm reinventing the game or how to win down the stretch. I've got some clutch guys that have made clutch shots. Des Camers made big shots. DJ. I got guys that can put the ball in the basket late in the game. We made our free throws versus Oregon State. Austin Nunez stepped up and made 2 huge foul shots. And so you do things that you could do to close games out. At the same time, I've talked about our depth and our ability to get a lot of guys on the floor and stay fresh late in games. And we value fitness and conditioning, so we run a lot in practice. I think our guys are ready to play down the stretch and still not have a big drop-off late in games.
There's been some talk over the last few weeks from you and some of the other players about kind of elevating or changing Warren Washington's role on offense. How do you think that's progressed over the last few games, and is that something that you think you're going to need this weekend?
Against Washington State, he was fantastic. He got touches. He was 9 out of 10. But he does so many things to help us win that you don't want to just exclusively say that's what we need to do. I mean, he's going to run the floor and get touches. He's going to roll to the basket and get touches. He's going to go to the offensive board and finish plays. So there's a lot of ways that he can score. We tried to get him the ball, and we were focused on getting him the ball versus Oregon State. We didn't get a ton in that game from him, but I think it shows that we want to play through him. And the guys are trusting him, and he'll get his opportunities.
Coach, the last time a ranked team came to the DFA was Arizona, and that was a game where there were a lot of opportunities to maybe steal that one. But what kind of lessons are you and the guys taking away from that game coming into this one?
I think the one thing that was really worked well for us, we talked about before Oregon, was, hey, let's get off to a better start. Like we've been putting ourselves behind in games early, especially on the road with Colorado and SMU and San Francisco, and we've won some of those games. But should we keep doing this, right? So we wanted to play better early in the game, which guys were ready to play from the jump, and we kind of challenged the starting 5. Hey, can we get some positive momentum so when I go to the bench, they're not we're not down 8 or 10, and now I'm putting guys that are ice cold into a bad environment. So trying to obviously get off to a better start, I think, would help, and in a big game. And because the Arizona game here, we did not, and we were down big, and we had to, fight our way back, and we didn't have enough to finish it.
In that game, talk about the depth. I mean, having somebody like Luther, with his experience, and obviously not calling mobile, with his experience, kind of leading that unit. How big is that for you when someone like him is leading that second?
I mean, he could go in there and make a play off the bounce and create something, which is great, and he's going to give you everything he has on defense. And, he's a guy that's very vocal, in practices and on the floor. So, I think he's very well liked. So you combine all those things, and he's older. So I think guys respect Luther.
Coach, there are different energy in the gym or in the locker room before a game like this when we get to play a top 5 team?
I mean, what's in front of you. It's like, as soon as it was hard to avoid talking about it when we beat Oregon State. Usually you want to kind of rehash the game a little bit, but I found myself at the very end just talking about the potential of what this arena could be like on Thursday night and how exciting that environment potentially could be with so much at stake in our conference. And it's very early, and there's a lot of games left and stuff. But for us to have a chance to have the #1 team in our conference here, and we're 1 game behind them, and it's a team like UCLA. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for as a competitor and as a player. So you could see that the guys were excited for that opportunity.